Hey, what's going on? You're tuned into the Daily Geek right here on SweetGeek.tv. I'm your host, Griffin Granberg, and today is September 5th, 2008. Thank God it's Friday. Let's get to the Geek News, starting off with story number one. What do you think about the Bill Gates and Jerry Seinfeld ad that ran yesterday? Now, some of you may remember my impression of Jerry Seinfeld just a few weeks ago. Jerry Seinfeld, what's up with that? I don't know that. Okay, so I'm not the best Jerry Seinfeld impression. Yeah, I definitely need to say that was not the best Jerry Seinfeld impression ever. But you know what? TechCrunch people did not like it. Robert Scoble did not like it. Even one of my buddies here in Fort Collins, who does web development, did not like it. Now, what did I think about it? I actually thought the ad was pretty playful. I thought it was good. I think it showed Microsoft in a good light. It showed that Bill Gates can take shots at himself, that he's a fun player, if you will. I thought it was pretty good. And if you haven't seen it, I'm actually going to include a link to it on the interesting links below, which is on our main site, SweetGeek.tv. Moving on to story number two, there's a study by FlightStats saying that JetBlue was worse for being on time. In fact, they were only on time 64.7% of the time. Now, what airline was on time the most? Northwest Airlines. I can't even believe it. I'm like speechless. They were on time 85.3% of the time. Now, what airports were the worst to fly into? New York City, all three of their airports, and then Miami's airport also was included in the worst four. Now, which ones were the best to fly into? Salt Lake City International and Metro Detroit. Story number three, Michael Dell took over reins at his company again last year, 2007, and is actually adding customer service to Dell's business plan. Now, if you write any smack about Dell in any relatively public place, Facebook or message boards, forums, what have you, they have actually people that will go out there and try to smooth things over. I think it's definitely a cool plan. Fortune has a whole article about all the initiatives that Michael Dell is putting into place. I definitely think it's worth the read, so go ahead and check it out. I'm including it on the interesting links below. Moving on to story number four, single-click buying on your cell phone. Is this something you'd be interested in? You know, surfing the web on your cell phone and then being like, oh, I want to buy that pair of shoes or whatever, and then being able to just one-click buy it right there on your cell phone. I'm not even sure if I'm there yet, but Billing Revolution is building their whole business on this platform of single-click buying on your cell phone. Now, if it blows up or if it completely fails, I'm sure we'll keep you up to date on how Billing Revolution is doing. Story number five, Comcast is appealing their FCC decision that was against them. FCC found that them throttling people's connection for 10 to 20 minutes was not the right thing to be doing, especially if you're not telling your customers. Comcast is appealing that ruling. Once the decision is made, I will definitely bring that to you. Story number six, which is no surprise to me, newspaper sales are plummeting. In fact, the industry's ad revenue is down about $3 billion thus far this year, which is definitely not surprising to me, and a lot of ad professionals not surprising to them either. Moving on to story number seven, Facebook's new layout. Now, over 20% of people have already switched to the new layout, but it's going to be rolling out completely next week. There will be no option to go back. Facebook's saying next week is the week for that. Story number eight, Take-Two is, let's see here, they have passed the 10 million sold threshold for Grand Theft Auto 4. Now, what's the big deal about this? Well, if you remember, Take-Two just evaded a hostile takeover by EA. Now, the big thing is this is their hugest marketing chip, or their chip to tell, hey, EA, look at this, we're huge, you should definitely give us a lot of money for our company. So they're going to use that, like I said, or not so much said, as a bargaining chip, which I think is just a cool statistic. Over 10 million sold. That's quite an achievement. Moving on to story number 9, the last story of the day. The Democratic National Convention website pulled in around 3.2 million visits. They had around 360,000 hours of video and the average user watched around 80 minutes of video by the week's end, which beats out the Olympics by, geez, I think somewhere around, the Olympics were around 20 minutes, so by quite a bit. The big thing is they, just like the Olympics, they use Silverlight instead of the Republican National Convention using Ustream. And I guess that wasn't a hindrance because, most people have to install Silverlight right onto their systems because it doesn't come like Flash does with most systems right now. But anyways, I thought that was a cool statistic. I thought you'd be interested in it. Of course, my name is Griffin Granberg, your host for the Daily Geek, right here on SweetGeek.tv. Tomorrow and the next day, you know what? It's the weekend, the Tour de Fat here in Fort Collins, which I'll be participating in. So, you know what? I will not be back here till Monday, but you know what? I'll catch you then on Monday.